Today on Focus on Sports, we discuss the recent struggles of the basketball team on the hardwood.
Then we turn to the success of the teams that are lighting up the scoreboard on the diamond.
Plus, a glimpse at what has California soccer fans on their feet. Your Focus on Sports starts now.
Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to the return of Fresno State's Focus on Sports. I'm Ricky Oakes.
And I am Al Scott.
And Natalia Mendoza. We're excited to be on the opening broadcast for this new endeavor. We will be taking this semester alongside the rest of our crew. Let's begin the year talking about the biggest talk of the town right now, and that is our Fresno State basketball team. Fresno State's men's basketball have been struggling finding their foothold, losing 5 straight games in the Mountain West play. All currently top 5 teams in the conference. However, fans are speculating that this team could have competed in some of those games, with 2 of those games coming down to the final possession against UNLV and 22nd Utah State in overtime. With those results in mind, what has been the factor that led to these results, or is it something that needs to change with the Mountain West tournament next week?
Right now, it's just a matter of the Dogs getting healthy. I mean, during that stretch, 2 of their big men were out in both Boachi and Andre. But, even with that help in the paint that could have happened, those were tough teams. And with the seeding they're going to be having, it's going to be tough. And with the direction coaching has been, now we talked about it, it might not be enough.
Yeah, I mean, even if, obviously Andre's out for the year, but even if Enoch comes back, at best they squeak out a win against Wyoming in the first round, but it really is a lost cause at this point. I think that you've noticed from even dating back to last season that it starts with a culture change. Coach Hudson has lost this team, and winning is not on the horizon for the Bulldogs. I
think there's no future ahead, and unfortunately, parting ways with the coach might be the best bet.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's no future. I mean, a lot of these guys, they come back, and I feel like there's still a spark depending on who the coach might be.
Isaac Traveris is someone that I look forward to next year. Hopefully he sticks around. But there's definitely going to be some changes. But this team has potential for growth next year. It just depends if they can get things together.
All right. And then let's go ahead and transition away from indoor ball to some spring ball, as baseball has made its way back onto the field with a rather impressive start, as Fresno looked to continue that success in their first Mountain West Series of the year against San Diego State. The Dogs lit up the scoreboard in 2 of the 3 games, going for double-digit victories in games 1 and 3. Not only did 2 Dogs get their first home runs in red and white from Long Beach State's transfers Rocco Pepe and Eddie Saldivar, but also another good pitching performance as well from sophomore Jake Ackner, who threw 8 strikeouts and only allowed 1 earned run in his 3rd win of the season. Fresno State went into the season looking for redemption, especially with them retaining a majority of their core form from last year. So what are your guys' early thoughts on the team so far?
You mentioned Jack Anchor, 2-time now Mountain West pitcher of the week. He has really impressed me. He had his cutter working yesterday. He had his fastball working yesterday. He's striking out batters with ease. You know, he told me after the game yesterday, I'm just going out there and attacking guys. It's that confidence that he's showing on the mound that's really intimidating batters. He's now 3-0 through 3 starts. He's really made a transition from being a long reliever last year to now being a starter. Same thing he was when he was at Tulare Western. Local grad, showing off. I don't know if you saw the game, but Eddie Saldivar has really impressed me. What are some of your thoughts?
I think if the energy is there and then the confidence is there, the sky's the limit for these guys, and I'm excited.
I mean, just the way they were able to light up the scoreboard in that first and third game. The second game, they kind of struggled to find their foothold against the pitcher they went up against. But, I mean, what was it? In that first game on Friday night, it just seemed like they just produced hit after hit after hit. And when they're able to, just light up the scoreboard like that, they're going to be lethal when it comes down to, that stretch where you're just facing Mountain West opponent left, right, and center.
This offense has a lot of talent. I mean, we talked about Eddie Saldivar, Mountain West Player of the Week, but it goes deeper than that. Tommy Hotfee, Murph Gray, Freshman Player of the Year last year. They got Grady Morgan, Rocco Pepe. They got talent up and down this roster. I think it's all about consistency. Obviously, you didn't see it Sunday in the first game, but you saw it in the other 2 games this series, and they've been doing that for the majority of the season. They got a tough test ahead of them with UC Irvine and Pacific, but yeah, I think they've got a good thing going right now. Baseball is not the only team that is having the barrels connecting on the diamond, as the Lady Dogs have started to find success on their own end. The softball team has a 6-game winning streak riding into the Judy Garmin Classic in Fullerton this weekend. The team was successful, winning 3 straight before ending their win streak at 9 after a 2-0 loss to Fullerton. Despite the loss, the Bulldogs have surpassed their regular season record from last season with their current record of 14-5 on the year. How impressive is it seeing the improvement this year from Stacy Johnson's softball team?
I mean, one of the key standouts is you talked about it, about how they've already surpassed their regular season record and we're barely a month into the season. And a lot of it, I went to the stats a little bit. They're top 50 in batting average, slugging percentage, on base percentage. When you're able to just constantly get on base and able to just produce runs time and time again, you're going to end up being a top competing team. And this team, they're going to look like a threat when it comes to Mountain West play.
For me, what stands out is Kennedy Bunker, catcher. She's excelling not only behind the dish as a catcher, communicating with her pitchers, but also in the batter's box. She's putting the barrel to the ball. That's something that she really didn't do last year. She's made a lot of improvements on both sides of the ball. What are some things that have stood out to you?
I think from the progress that they've had from last season compared to this one, there's definitely growth, and I think it all starts with the batting average, and for them to set it on what they're doing now will eventually just spark.
Yeah, obviously, game 1 of the season, they lost. They gave up 20 runs. I think some fans were concerned about what we would see, but they've really been able to string some wins together. The chemistry is there. They've turned things around. They had a win over top-ranked 25 Mississippi State. Things have seemed to turn their way, and it's going to be exciting to watch Mountain West play how that goes.
Couldn't agree more.
Following the break, we take a look at the professional level, as California is filled with soccer fever with the Gold Cup quarterfinals in action.
Plus, we preview who we think are the surprises of the NBA season as we get closer to playoff time.
And we can't forget to look at spring training in Major League Baseball. All to come when we return to your Focus on Sports.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head. Up in my head. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Up in my head to say. I got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Hey. Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Deep in my heart. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. All over me. All over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit.
Deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. I got that bulldog spirit.
Welcome on back to the show. As March Madness approaches, the NBA season is reaching closer to its own playoffs, as we are starting to get an idea of what the playoff picture is starting to look like. The Celtics continue to be a dominant force in the East, but on our side of the United States, it is a tight-knit race for the first seed, as it is a three-way race, with the defending champs finding their stride with 5 consecutive wins following the win against the Lakers. And with the season now a little over a month away from playoffs, what are some standouts in your guys' mind setting into March? Natalia, why don't you start us off?
I think it starts with the teams that you don't expect to hit, specifically the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. What do you think, Al? Do you think?
Well, you were telling me earlier you've been really impressed with Chet Holmgren, right?
Yes.
I think that his presence inside, having a 7-footer, being able to wreak havoc. Obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has become an MVP candidate for them. For me, though, it starts with the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets. They got 2-time MVP Nikola Jokic. Might be a 3-time after this season. He's really fun to watch. It really looks effortless out there. What about you, Ricky?
For me, one thing we got to keep an eye on, though, is going to be those lower seeded teams. And we saw it with Jimmy Butler's team on the Heat when they were able to pull off the upset, not just on the Celtics, but able to make a run and make it to the finals. And we're seeing the Warriors in that position right now. Right now, they're trying to kind of find their stride right now. They did just lose by a ton yesterday, but we won't talk about that.
We're not going to talk about Steph Curry, one of his worst games he ever had. But you know what? It's one game, and they're going to turn things around. But this is not the same Warriors team that we've seen in years past. Obviously, Klay Thompson is taking on more of a bench role. But, yeah, we'll just have to see. I
think you're right with Klay Thompson taking on that bench role and Steve Kerr just letting the rookies shine sometimes throughout the games. And maybe they'll surprise us and just be back on their stride. We'll find out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can recover. Women's soccer is reaching ever closer to crowning its first Gold Cup winner. On Saturday, the city of Los Angeles showed up as Mexico and the United States both punched their tickets to the semifinals. Semifinals matches will take place on Saturday with the U.S. taking on Canada and Mexico taking on Brazil. Nat, you have been watching the Gold Cup closely. What is the matchup you are looking forward to most in the semifinals?
I think I'm excited for all four teams, trying to see if they're going to explode because all four teams are really, really, really good. That's why they're in the top four right now. I specifically think that it's going to be a rematch from the group stages between USA and Mexico, just because they're both good.
I saw some feistiness out of her. Alex Morgan is the person that I want to watch out for the U.S. She's playing in her home stadium. She plays there with the Wave in San Diego. It's going to be, I think she's just got that competitive edge. She has that winning mentality, and I think that's going to carry over to the rest of her team. What about you, Ricky? Absolutely.
And I think what we're going to see is we are going to get a rematch from that group in stage between the United States and Mexico at the end of the time. What's going to be a factor is going to be those veterans from the United States stepping up, though. Because Mexico, they put off the upset in that grouping stage. And this isn't the same dominant United States team we know of from the 2010, 2012, 2014 era. But it's a matter of those veterans stepping up, making a factor, and keeping Fresno State to win the first ever Women's Gold Cup.
Yeah, just what you're saying, Ricky. On the roster, on the Mexico roster, it's just new players. There are probably 3 veterans. But everybody else, they're all young. They're hungry for it, and I think all 4 teams have that hungriness. Finally, let's shift gears to some preseason action for the Major League Baseball. Now, a week into spring training, teams and fans alike are getting rough ideas of what their opening day rosters will look like. But even with the regular season not far away, teams are still making moves, such as the Giants bringing Gold Glover Matt Chapman to the Bay Area on a 3-year deal. What in your eyes has been the biggest takeaways from the first week of spring training? Being a Dodgers fan and bringing Shohei to the good side of LA, other teams are shaking up with top names on our roster like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. This might actually be our season again.
2 years in a row that the 100-win Dodgers have lost in the NLDS? One interesting thing to notice is that as opposed to years past, Major League, the top free agents are not signing as quickly. We're 16 days away from opening day in Korea between the Dodgers and the Padres, and the reigning Cy Young, 2-time Cy Young winner Blake Snell is still a free agent. World Series champion Jordan Montgomery is still a free agent, and even J.D. Martinez, who's seemingly in the Silver Slugger discussion every single season, is still out there. All of which have Scott Boras as their agent. Now, Matt Chapman recently signed, Cody Bellinger recently signed, but he still has a lot of players that remained unsigned. What do you think about that, Ricky?
For me, I'm just keeping my eye on Snell, especially because the Giants, my Giants, of course, are looking for one more big arm into the rotation. They signed another good bat, which is a great start. But I think if they add in just one more good arm, I think they have poised to at least contend for at least second place, if not first place. But that's a big stretch.
I think all the free agents that are out there, they all have immense talent. And we just don't know. It's like a waiting game with 16 days away, like Al said. We're curious, And that's our show. We're excited about this opportunity for Fresno State Focus, and we hope you are too.
And don't forget that we'll be covering more sports this week on our regular newscast, Fresno State newscast this weekend at 4 p.m.
But we'll be back next week to bring you more with your weekly focus on sports.